I wish I had an alternative source of energy. While fossil fuels generate a lot of power, they also generate a lot of heat energy which goes unused.
Did someone say alternative energy? Hi, I'm Spencer Davis with the Photovoltaic Company. I'm here with a product that will blow your mind. Introducing you to the solar panel, aka the photovoltaic cell, transferring photons into electrons since the 1950s.
I don't know, man. Sounds like you're selling me snake oil. How does this photovolt thing even work?
Not convinced? Well, let me tell you about semiconductors. There's two types of semiconductors, P-type semiconductors and N-type semiconductors. These semiconductors will create an electrical field allowing for the generation of electricity. Imagine that, a world powered by the near infinite energy of the sun.
Wait. P-type and N-type? What does that mean?
Well, the P-type is like the positive side. It's made by doping silicon metal with elements like boron or gallium. These elements having one less electron than the silicon atoms will have natural holes or be positively charged in comparison.
I see. So if P-type is like the positive type, that must mean N-type is the negative type. And that would be silicon doped with an element like phosphorus, which has one more electron in its outer shell.
Exactly. And so where you have the P-type semiconductor and the N-type, and where they meet, will create an intersection zone. And this will have different static neutral charges.
I see. And as more diffusion takes place, that region of static charge will increase until it generates an electric field that's strong enough to separate the positive charges and force them to stay on the positive side, while the negative charges are forced to stay on the negative side.
Correct. And when a photon hits one of these silicon metal atoms, it will release an electron. And these electrons will travel to their individual sides.
So the electron will travel to the negative side while a hole stays on the positive side, but they want to meet. So that means if you put a wire connecting the two sides, wouldn't the electrons then flow through the wire?
Exactly, creating electrical current.
I see. Alright, you're starting to sell me on these solar panels, but how do they compare to my current energy generation methods?
Well, in 1883, the first solar panels came about. This was made by Fritz. They were nowhere capable of meeting our energy demands at around 4% efficiency.
And how has they improved since then?
Well, Bell Labs actually discovered the silicon transistor, and this allowed them to create solar panels at around 14% of efficiency, meeting the demands of space travel at that time.
And what about more modern solar panels?
At the turn of the century, Spectro Labs and the National Energy Library came together and created a solar panel with 33% efficiency. This was done through perovskite tandem cells, which is basically just layering multiple light-catching crystals beneath each other.
Hello, comrades. Before this capitalist goes on about his silly wares, let it be known that perovskite can be credited to its discovery in the Ural Mountains. These cells are composed of a crystalline structure, ABX3, and chemically calcium titanium trioxide. These are very promising for the future. Of course, the limitations of these cells are its degradation in temperature and moisture. Instead, these tandem cells are stacked onto the silicone to capture short-wave light, while the silicone captures long-wave light. Anyways, back to traditional programming.
I see. And now, what about if right now I wanted to buy the best solar panels I could? Where should I go to?
For a residential person like yourself, I would recommend the Maxeon 7 at 24.9% efficiency. But if you get it from a solar farm, you can expect something like 34.5% efficiency.
Thank you. What, are you trying to rip me off? Why can't I use some more efficient solar panels as a residential setting?
First of all, I would never rip you off. And there's actually a lot of reasons for that. You see, higher efficiencies tend to be less reliable, as in weather, degradation over time. These things require man crews to maintain these solar panels and make sure they're running at optimal efficiency. The residential ones are only lower because it's better for you as a consumer.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like you're almost interested. Let me show you the math.
To get started with, efficiency is equal to your maximum power over your area times STC. Now, in this case on Earth, STC is your standard testing condition, which on Earth, like the radiance, will be 1,000 watts per meter squared. And then we're going to multiply this value by 100, just because this is a percentage. Now, if you want to find out your maximum power from like your house, you're going to want to do your P max. You're going to want to carry this over. And you're going to multiply that by the percentage. So your maximum power is going to equal the efficiency of the solar panel times the area times and don't forget STC, which is 1,000, but it's dividing the 100. So when you actually carry this over, it's actually going to be 10 watts per meter squared. And this will let you calculate the power you can get from any area of solar panels with the efficiency, area, and kind of like our constant here.
Wow, you sure seem like a good salesman, but how can I be sure that there's a future of photovoltaic cells?
Well, countries all around the world are taking to solar power energy. Countries like Chile, Spain, and Italy have replaced nearly 20% of their electricity generation with solar.
Wow, that solar stuff sure means business.
Not just that, in 2022, solar power increases accounted for more than all other forms of energy increases.
Well, how much did it increase by?
It increased by a whopping 250 terawatt hours. That's nearly a 26% increase. In 2022, our renewable energy generation was about 500 gigawatts. But in 2028, we're projected to reach 7,300 gigawatts, with solar and wind making up 95% of that figure.
That's a lot. But what countries are using this?
China is the main user of solar energy, followed by the US and India. Other countries like Germany, Australia, Brazil, and South Africa also use solar energy.
So this truly is a global industry. Well, if it's good enough for the whole world, it's good enough for me.
Sounds like a deal then.
Yeah, and then the salesman just appeared out of nowhere and started telling me about there were photovoltaic cells or solar panels. Yeah, and it was like how they generate electricity. They have like semiconductors, and where they meet, there's like electrons need to travel from one side to the other, but they can't because of an electric field. And so they have to travel through a wire that connects the two semiconductors, and that generates an electric current. And then, yeah, they're able to harness electricity out of that. Yeah, that's what I thought too, but apparently, so they started out at like 4% efficiency, but over the years, they've become more efficient, and now you can get like 25% efficiency for residential solar panels. But there's also a solar farms where you can get like 35% efficiency. But those require like a lot more maintenance, so you can't really use those for like personal use. You have to get them from a solar farm where they have like maintenance crews and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's really becoming like a popular energy source. They were saying like most countries that are like most major countries have or like will integrate solar panels into their electricity power generation. And most countries like around the world like always have some presence. So you can say like every continent always has one country with a significant portion of their electricity being generated by solar.
Photovoltaic Inc. is not responsible for expense, maintenance, shade, permits, storms, roofing upgrades, aesthetics, wiring, efficiency, pests, heat, snow, wind, regulations, cleaning, storage, damage, resale, debris, glare, installation, orientation, leaks, inverters, batteries, monitoring, grid tie, inspections, breakage, degradation, birds, incentives, taxes, repairs, warranty, upfront, removal, lifespan, contracts, compliance, fire, hail, overheating, shingles, upkeep, connections, compatibility, visibility, expansion, noise, inverters, financing, insurance fees, delays, supplies, oversight, subsidies, and grounding. So solar.